So these are the words spoken by the Kumaras to the Lord, where they are mentioning that your potency is not reduced by your submissive behavior. Rather, by submission, you exhibit your transcendental pastimes. So, Prabhupada in the Purport mentions that Kṛṣṇa was never reduced in his position by becoming a cowherd boy or by offering respect to Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa or other devotees like Nanda Mahārāja, Vasudeva, Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira, and the Pāṇḍavas mother Kuntī. We all are trying to become devotees and follow in the footsteps of the great acharyas. Becoming humble, becoming submissive is a sign of advancement. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, that famous verse, Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahisnuna amani na mana dena kirtaniya sadahari, gives example of how the grass is trampled. People walk on it. But because it is humble, it does not grudge, does not rebel, just stands back. Same, Prabhupada gives example of the tree. It is so tolerant. Generally, the human tendency is, the more we become advanced or the more we become senior, the more we become bigger, pride sets in. Actually, the opposite should happen. The more advanced we become, the more senior we become, the more knowledgeable we become, more humble we should become. Newton, we all know he was a great scientist. Towards this end, generally when people are this thing, there is time when some of the great people are also humble. No doubt, if Kṛṣṇa consciousness is not there, transcendental knowledge is not there, more the knowledge, more the person becomes proud. So when he was very old, when practically he was on the deathbed, somebody came and met Newton and said that you must be very, very satisfied, very, very proud. You have unraveled so many mysteries of this universe. Newton's law of motion, so many things. You have unraveled so many mysteries, so many inventions, so many things you have done, so much you have contributed to this world. You must be feeling really proud, satisfied. When we contribute something, when we do something big, there's a sense of satisfaction, achievement. So Newton said, I am like a small boy standing on the shore of a mighty ocean. What I have collected from the ocean is few pebbles. The whole big ocean lies in front of me, completely unraveled, undiscovered. Just like when we walk into the hostel, we get some pebbles, some this thing and all that. So why we should become submissive? Why we should become humble? Because the more we advance, the more we become this thing, the more we realize that. That's why great devotees, they say, we are rascal. I am more fallen than Jagai and Madai. I am worse than worm in a stool. Actually, they are not, but they are feeling like that. So we also should have some introspection. What is going on in our heart? Is there an element of pride just because I am a senior? Or a remorse that I have pride in me? I still have arrogance. Prabhupada used to say, when a bamboo is tender, it can bend. When it grows, it cracks. So we should see, as we are growing, are we becoming like that bamboo which will crack? Or we are open for suggestions, we are submissive. We can beg forgiveness if we have made mistake. Here you see Kṛṣṇa, we are trying to become devotees of Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa has taken humble position of a chariot driver. He has no ego. Sometimes we can discriminate, I cannot do this service. Bhaktas do this service. Why me? Kṛṣṇa was never reduced in his position by becoming a cowherd boy or by offering respect to Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. At the Vyavaharik level, yes, there is some protocols, but deep within, we should be ready to respect anybody. Give due respect to anybody. Once there was a big scholar. He had done his PhD from Oxford. Oxford is a very big university in the US, in London, in UK. So he had come to India, and generally when people from abroad come, they are little bit so things are so bad, so disorganized, so unclean. So they are some bit of, they can have some kind of sarcasm, some kind of feeling of that we are great, see, people, no culture, no manners, no cleanliness. So he was also having some kind of arrogance. And more so because he was PhD from Oxford University. So he came to Kolkata and he had to cross one river. And the only way to cross that river was through the boat. Just like when we go to Mayapur, if you have to go to Nadia. So a lot of boats, bamboo boats. So the only way was to cross through the boat. So he got into the boat and arrogantly said, "Oh boatman, take me across the river." "Yes, sir." So he got into the boat. And then as they moved further, somehow on that particular day the weather was not good. The boat started tossing. And the jerks were too great, too big. Sometimes the boat is tossing left, right. There was a lot of current in the water. And then the scholar, because generally when a person is very knowledgeable, he also wants to show off. This is one of the characteristic of a pride. When a person is humble, just like Prabhupada, you see, when he was giving class, at times he went into ecstatic symptom, but he suppressed it. He didn't wanted people to praise, people to say, "Oh, such a great devotee," he gets into ecstasy. He suppressed that. Whereas a proud person will demonstrate, wherever there is no ecstasy also, he'll demonstrate, just to show to people that he is great. So this scholar also wanted to show that he is very learned, he knows so many things in the world. Of course, he was PhD from Oxford. So when the boat started tossing, so he asked, "Boatman, tell me one thing. Now looks like it's going to be storm. Have you understood about torque and the storm center and how they are correlated? Have you understood? So that you can use this knowledge in rowing the boat More so when there is a storm. So the boatman, torque, storm center, impact, all these were some new words for him. So he said, I don't know. He says, you illiterate people, I don't think you would have ever studied physics. Have you? He said, no. He said, then 25% of your life is waste. Kya hai life mein? It's waste. Yes, sir. So further they went. The storm became even more acute. The boat started tossing and started tossing very dangerously. And then the scholar, again opportunity. He said, oh boatman, looks like it's going to rain today. The storm is increasing. Can you tell me, using mathematics, the probability and the statistics that it's going to rain today? Can you calculate using mathematical equations? So he said, no, sir. Then how do you find out that it's going to rain? How do you find out it's Sir, seeing the skies, we get some idea. Accordingly, we plan whether we should get into the waters or not. He says, you've never studied mathematics in your life? Never? No equations, no calculations, no way of finding out, very objectively. He says, no, sir. 50% of your life is waste. Maths hi nahi pada. Yes, sir. Further went ahead. And this time, it really became very strong. The wind velocity, the wind started blowing. And so again the scholar said, okay, now boatman, I'm asking you a last question. Now there's a storm center and there's a wind velocity. You know what is the correlation between the two and how it impacts the boat? Do you know that? He says, no, sir. He says, meteorology ke baare mein kabhi kuch nahi pada? Not studied meteorology? He says, no, sir. 75% of your life is waste. Yes, sir. And finally, the wind became so acute, the boat started tossing, and at one time, the boat toppled. Both the scholar also in the water and the boatman also is in the water. So, sir, please, somehow swim across. The boat has capsized. The boatman is trying to swim, and the scholar also is trying to swim. So, save me, boatman, I don't know how to swim. He says, you don't know how to swim? No! 100% of your life is. So, for worldly existence, yes, we need some knowledge. We need some position. But if we become proud, we become arrogant, then just like in this kind of a story, our life becomes waste. So we have to work on it. It doesn't happen like this. Some open to feedback. Somebody says that, Prabhu, this is what you have done, a mistake, wrong. You should be open. Ideally, there should be this thing that anybody is giving feedback. What is being told is important. Who is telling is secondary. There is something to be learned from everyone. Sometimes we are also reluctant if suppose somebody is pointing out a mistake, if he is junior or if he is this thing. Who is he to tell me? Uski औकात kya hai? The thing should be how I can improve, how I can grow, how I can become better. And they say feedback is the breakfast of champions. If we don't get feedback and if we don't improve, then we remain stagnant. Acharya Ratna Prabhu, when he was here, he gave one class. He said, what we are practicing here can be practiced from outside also, from home also. We can hear Bhagavatam class more so in present times, online. Live we can hear. We can have live darshan, we can have Mangalarti in the home. In fact, you can watch the deities more closely, more clearly. Suppose somebody is standing in the temple hall behind, the camera is zooming onto the deities, and these days with technology, the camera, resolution, the quality is improving. The sound quality is improving. You can have Mangalarti in Mayapur, you can have a Vrindavan, you can have a VCM, you can have a Bangalore. So you can have Mangalarti, you can have all the morning program. There are some families, you'll be surprised, they attend the whole morning program online. There's one person in Bombay, he's staying, but I would say he's more than a full-time devotee. He gets up at 3 in the morning, he attends the whole morning program, Darshanarti, Guru Puja, Bhagavatam class, does his chanting 2 hours in the morning. So the entire thing can be done at home, reading. But he told one thing which you cannot do is that when we are living in association of devotees, one great advantage we have is we can be timely corrected. If we are making a mistake, a devotee can point out, "Ke Prabhuji, please don't do like this." And if we are not submissive, if we are not humble, if we are not willing to take that feedback, and if we say, "Who are you to tell me?" or "It's not my mistake," then that opportunity, that the unique difference which is there of living in association is lost. So, it is always we should check, am I becoming humble? Am I becoming more tolerant? Am I submissive? We should not become like a bamboo. The more we grow, more it becomes rigid. And someone tries to bend it, it breaks. So now, Prabhupada in the Purport mentions very important thing. He says, submissiveness does not mean that anybody comes and tramples you for no fault of yours. No doubt we have examples of Trinadapi Sunichena Taropi Saisuna. Trees are thrown, stones are thrown, but it gives fruit. Prabhupada in the end mentions that the force exhibited in the battle of Kurukshetra by the desire of Kṛṣṇa and through the agency of Arjuna was also necessary, because when people become too irreligious, force is required. Now somebody may say, we are talking about humility, submission. Prabhupada used harsh words, fools, rascals. Sometimes people get offended. How Prabhupada, how can a saintly person use? Generally it is expected saintly person means he will be very humble, very submissive, talk all very softly. But Prabhupada at time was using harsh words. Naradhama, Maya Pritagyana. Kṛṣṇa uses these words. So it's contradiction. On one side we are saying the more we become learned, Prabhupada criticized the noble laureates. He went and argued with some priests and some big scholars. They have no knowledge, they're fools, they are rascals. He used this kind of words. So it looks like he was arrogant, he was proud. As we're saying, the more knowledge you have, bhakti, Vedanta, he should be more submissive. This is what Prabhupada is saying. Because the people are too irreligious, force is required. To shake us up from this illusion, force is required. To shake us from illusion, it is required. You rascal. It may be our ego may get hurt, but if we have to wake up, that words have to pierce our heart. Why Prabhupada is saying rascal? Once there was a villager, he was illiterate, never gone to any school, never studied anything. And all along born and brought up in village only. His son got educated and moved to the city. Fortunately got a very good job, started working in some big company. And this villager, as usual, would, they had some land, till the land and had some income. And as he was becoming old, even he was not able to till the land, and whatever little income, that also was not there. So in village, people know each other. So the postmaster in that village, he was close to him. He said, now your son is educated, he is in the city, he is earning good money, he is working in there and in a good job. Why don't you ask him every month he can send some money? So he was a little reluctant. No, he will have, city means big expenses. He's just got married. No, let him, I will manage. He said, no, there's no harm, you ask him. So very reluctantly he says, how do I ask him? Those days it was not from phone call or WhatsApp message. So he said, I'll help you write a letter. You can sign. We will explain the situation, how the income has come down, how you have become old and all that, and request him to send some money. The father reluctantly agreed. So he wrote a letter, and he says, how much we should ask? So the old man thought for a while. He said, my needs are very simple. Hardly I need anything. 1,000 rupees if he can send, money order. So the postmaster wrote the letter, and dear son, now that you have moved in to the city, by Lord's grace you would have got a good job. See if you can send me 1,000 rupees every month. I'll be very grateful to you. Now that I have become old, I am finding it difficult to think like that letter. And he signed it. The postmaster, what he did was, before posting the letter, where he wrote 1,000, he added one more zero. So the letter reached the son. Son is in the city. Moment he knows his father very well. He knows genuinely there will be some need now that he has become, and it's my duty. He has raised me. He has done so many sacrifices. I should now support it. There were tears in his eyes. Somehow I will make arrangement, even if I have to cut some expenses. 10,000 rupees he started sending. So moment and money order. It was not Google Pay, Phone Pay. So money order would come. Money order would come to the post office. The postmaster, moment he gets money order of 10,000 rupees, what he will do? 1,000 rupees to the father, 9,000 rupees to him. So the father is happy, the son is happy, the postmaster is happy. So some months, some years passed by. Then postmaster started realizing 9,000 से गुजारा नहीं हो रहा अभी. कम हो गया 9,000. He became little greedy. So he went and told the father. He says, 1,000 rupees you're able to manage? He says, yes. My needs are limited. It's enough. And also I don't want to trouble my son. He says, no. Everything has become, see, sugar, it was this much, now it has become this much. And he will also not mind if you say that increase little amount. So he reluctantly agreed. He says, I am advising you, just ask for, he's earning so much, how 2,000 rupees, nothing for him. So again wrote a letter, dear son, some expenses have increased, prices have also increased. See if you can send 2,000, it will be of great help. So he wrote the letter, the father signed. Moment the letter was posted, he added one more zero. 20,000 rupees. The son received the letter. 20,000 was a big sum, even though he was working in a job. he started sending 20,000. Father has asked. So 18,000 for the postmaster, 2,000 for the father. This went on for a few months. And generally in some government agencies, there is audits. Every government agency, there are audits. So one audit was set up just to check, the whole thing. And while doing audit, they found out that this postmaster's lifestyle is not commensurate with his salary. Sometimes you can make out, he's earning 10,000 rupees, but he is having a bungalow, he's having big car and all that thing. So they got something fishy, doubtful. So they became more, the audit process, they started trying to dig different things as to what could be the source of income. And then they started checking all the previous records, what all is passing through the post office. And they got a doubt. Here, this old man is getting 20,000 rupees every month. Those days, big money. They somehow, as part of the audit process, asked this old man, are you getting 20,000 every month? He says, 20,000? No, your son is sending every month. See, so many months you have received it. You have also signed it. He says, no, my son is sending 2,000 rupees. Anyway, net, the postmaster was caught. Why a spiritual master is required? Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Om ajnana timirandasya jnananjana shlakya. We are born blinded with darkness of ignorance. Maya is cheating us, just like this postmaster is cheating. There's a fraud going on in our life. We are getting cheated and we are not aware. Just like this villager. We are being presented happiness, which is cheating happiness. Maya is showing us you will get 100 units. Actually, what we are getting is 1 unit. And we are getting more and more entangled also. So someone has to come and show us that there's a fraud going on. You're getting cheated. And that is what spiritual master does. That is what Prabhupada has done for us. That is what it is said, Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya. Actually, we all are getting cheated. Our senses are cheating us. Our minds are cheating us. We have given power of attorney to our mind. Whatever the mind is saying, yes, sir. Whatever our senses are demanding, yes, sir. We're getting cheated. There's a saying, there is a limit to man's need, but there is no limit to man's greed. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, we are under the influence of these qualities. And Maya is, every moment we are getting tricked, cheated, gross and subtle traps. And it's the spiritual master who comes and exposes the fraud, exposes the cheating, how we are getting cheated by our mind, how we are getting cheated by our senses. When we understand all this, that how I am so insignificant, how Maya is strong, how in spite of having knowledge I am getting cheated, and we realize that it is not possible with my understanding alone to come out of this fraud. Sometime when we try to control our mind and senses, mama maya dhuratteya, the more we become experienced, the more we realize that how fallible we are, how insignificant we are, how strong Maya is. And once we realize that, then it makes us humble. Then we become more and more surrendered, more and more dependent on the Lord. We go to the Lord and say that, Lord, I am yours only if I have your protection. I have a hope that I can handle this energy of yours. Only if I have your mercy. Otherwise, at times we are arrogant. we realize that we have no option but to be surrendered to the Lord. If we have to have some hope to be out of Maya. By our scholarship, by our so-called, I have studied all the books, I have done my sadhana. No. Big rishis, Muni, Shaubari Muni went under the water. Vishwamitra Muni, 60,000 years tapasya. So why we become humble, why we become submissive, we realize how fallible we are, how insignificant we are, how strong Krishna's Shakti is, because it is Krishna's Shakti. It is not some other independent Shakti, it is Krishna's Shakti. Mama Maya Dhuratteya. So that brings humility, that brings submission, that brings Krishna, keep me under your shelter, keep me in shade of your lotus feet. Otherwise, arrogance comes. I know everything. I can handle it. Now I am experienced. So many years I have handled it. And Maya also will give a test and will fall down. So, to strike a healthy balance, yes, we have to be humble, we have to be submissive. But because we are operating in this world, just like Prabhupada is saying, because people are too irreligious, at times people will harass devotees. At times, violence also is required. At times, force is required. At times, anger is required. And there are many pastimes in Bhagavatam which illustrates, which gives practical example how devotees should handle this. Two extremes. On one side we have, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu getting angry, and other side he is saying Trinadapi Suni Chena Tarorapi Sahisnuna. And we have many pastimes, many leelas where they demonstrate how to handle these things, in what circumstances we have to be angry, in what circumstances we have to be humble, to be very tolerant. And as we grow in spiritual life, even practical examples by association of devotees, by taking their help, by taking their guidance, we'll be able to become mature in dealing with all these extremes. So we'll stop here. Anyone has any question, anything like to ask based on what we discussed today? Any question? So, humility, as I mentioned, submissiveness, humility, as we grow, as we advance, there should be some introspection, some check. Am I becoming more humbler? Am I becoming more tolerant? Am I becoming more submissive? And how will we get a test? It is through our day-to-day dealings. Day-to-day, such opportunities will arise. And how do I understand that this thing is there? By some kind of careful introspection. In this situation, I acted like this. Why? What made me speak like this? He gave this kind of a feedback. I was very much hurt. Why? Who got hurt? I got hurt, or my mind got hurt, or my ego got hurt? Some kind of questions we have to ask, more so when we have gone through some situations. And often you will find that there is a force which is we are getting cheated. Maya is cheating us. Our pride is the one which is our arrogance. Our pride is the one which is not allowing us to accept sometimes some criticism, some feedback, some suggestions. Or somebody has told something, somebody gave some feedback, we are not able to tolerate it, not able to handle it. We are in a revenge mode. he did this to me, I will look for opportunity when I can retaliate. Give him back. This is not Vaishnava behavior. So we'll stop here. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.